The cafe was alive with noise that morning. The soft hiss of steaming milk, the low hum of tired voices, the scrape of chairs on tiled floors. But cutting through it all was laughter. Not the warm kind. The other kind. Two men in suits sat at the counter, their ties loosened, their coffee cups half full. "Look at her," one muttered, not bothering to lower his voice. "Like melted wax." The other smirked, probably careless, or maybe she deserved it. Their laughter was quiet but sharp, like glass breaking in slow motion. Behind the counter, Lila worked in silence. She placed a fresh pot of coffee on the warmer, her movements precise, practiced. She didn't look at them, didn't flinch, but she heard every word. The scars were visible today, pale, twisted rivers of old burns that traced down her jawline and slipped beneath the collar of her uniform. They told a story she never spoke aloud. "Bet the rest of her looks worse," one man added, smirking. A spoon clinked in a nearby cup. Someone shifted uneasily at a corner table, but no one said anything. Lila lowered her gaze. She had learned long ago how to be invisible. She set a plate on the counter. Her fingers were steady, always steady, but inside there was that familiar tightening in her chest, that quiet burn of shame she could never quite extinguish. She turned away. The bell above the door chimed. A rush of cold air slipped into the cafe, and the sound of laughter stopped. An older man stepped inside. His posture was straight, his movements measured. He wore a crisp military coat, dark green, lined with faded medals that caught the dim light. His boots echoed softly on the tile. He scanned the cafe, slowly, calmly. Then his eyes found her, and he froze. The lines of his face shifted. Recognition. Something heavier behind it. He started walking toward her. Not fast, not slow, just deliberate. Each step seemed to grow louder in the silence. The businessman fell quiet, confused by the sudden change in the room. Lila looked up. Just for a second. Her breath hitched. He stopped at the counter and spoke one word, "Phoenix." The sound of it lingered in the air. Lila froze. Her heart stopped. No one had called her that in years. "General," she whispered, the word barely leaving her lips. The man straightened, his eyes flicking briefly toward the suits at the counter. "She saved lives," he said softly. "Those scars are the proof." The cafe fell silent. The laughter was gone. The cafe held its breath. Silence wrapped the room, heavy and unspoken. Cups sat untouched. Conversations died mid-sentence. The two men at the counter shifted in their seats. Their smirks were gone, replaced by something else. Unease. The older man, still standing firm in his crisp military coat, kept his gaze on Lila. His voice was low, but it carried the weight of command. "Years ago," he began, "a mission went wrong. An ambush, a building set ablaze. No one moved. A team was surrounded," he continued, his tone steady. "Smoke thick, flames everywhere. Most froze. Some ran." He paused, his eyes softening. "But one didn't." The room stayed silent. She went back, again and again, dragged 3 men out through fire that would have killed us all. His words hung in the air like a slow echo. Lila lowered her gaze, her hands trembling slightly on the counter. "She never mentioned herself," the general said. "Never asked for medals, never asked for recognition. But those scars," he gestured gently toward her neck, "they are the reason others came home." A faint murmur rippled through the cafe. Someone whispered, "Sergeant." The businessman shifted again. One swallowed hard. The other stared at the floor. "She was Sergeant Lila Hayes," the general said, his voice firm now. A decorated soldier. A hero who gave more than anyone asked. Lila blinked, her eyes glistening. She hadn't heard that name spoken with honor in years. The general stepped back slightly. Then slowly, deliberately, he raised his hand to his forehead and saluted. The motion was simple, but it carried the weight of everything unspoken. The cafe seemed to shrink around them. No one laughed now. No one dared. The businessman who mocked her sat frozen, their earlier words echoing back at them like a stain they couldn't erase. One lowered his head. The other turned away entirely, his face flushed with shame. Lila stood there quiet, still, and then, for the first time in years, she lifted her chin. She didn't hide her scars. She didn't shrink from their gaze. The burns no longer felt like chains. They were proof of a day when she chose courage over fear, proof of lives saved. Her eyes met the general's, and something in her posture changed. Not pride, not exactly, but strength. The general gave a single nod, lowering his hand, and the room, still silent, seemed to see her for the very first time. The waitress was gone. What stood there now was a hero.